Hello and welcome to another edition of HS Game Time Live. I'm Kyle Glazer alongside Eric Paul Johnson. It's playoff time. We've got breakdowns of the Pac-5 and West Valley divisions for you. Eric, starting with the Pac-5, what jumped out at you when the bracket was released Sunday?
You know, the thing that really jumped out with me was kind of the tough draw that Centennial got. I mean, they're a league champion, the number 3 seed, and they drew Gardena Serra, which is a league champion. They were a 3-way tri-champion out of the Mission League, but they on coin flips ended up as the 3. We're talking about 2 programs that have state bowl traditions, so this was a very tough matchup for Centennial. Obviously, we got their high-powered offense going up against Serra's defense that has a 5-star defensive tackle, a 5-star linebacker, and a 4-star cornerback. So it is definitely a tough road for Centennial.
Honestly, having seen St. Bonaventure, Norco, the second-place team in the Big 8, got an easier first-round matchup than Centennial did, and I think there might have been an error there on the part of the Southern Section bracketing committee. What I want to see is, and we've talked about it off camera, Serra has a lot of guys that go both ways, and Centennial, with their offensive pace, they've got to try and wear them down. Serra has the athletes to compete with Centennial, one of the few schools that does. So I think that the way Centennial wins this one is if they just wear Serra out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close at halftime, but by the second half, Centennial starts to pull away. Norco might beat St. Bonnie's. I think it'd be really huge if the Pac-5 can get if the Big 8 can get 2 Pac-5 first-round victories.
Yeah, definitely. I think Norco got the best possible draw that they probably could have imagined. I think they avoided the Trinity League schools. They avoided the Mission League schools. It's still a tough game. St. Bonaventure with Ricky Town at quarterback can definitely throw the ball. And going back to Centennial, the good thing you kind of said, they have the athletes, but it's not the 2008, 2009 Serra teams that had Robert Woods, Marquise Lee, and Paul Richardson.
George Farmar,
yeah. So, I mean, but it is still a tough matchup. We're talking about 2 top 15 state-ranked teams in the first round.
It'll be a great matchup, that's for sure. Moving over into the West Valley, you also have Vista Murrieta. They're in a higher division now, as is the rest of the Southwestern League. What do you see when you look at those brackets?
You know, the thing for me, I think Vista Murrieta got a good first-round draw, drawing Canyon Country Canyon. But I think they were a little upset because there was a fight at who was going to be the number 3 seed in this division. It came down to Vista Murrieta and Chino Hills. Chino Hills is a second-place team out of their league. Vista is an undefeated league champ. They gave it to Chino Hills based on, I think, the baseline league being the strongest team. So it'll be a tough road after that. If Vista gets by the first game, they will have Tesoro in that round, which has done well against Southwestern League teams in the past. The game I look forward to seeing most in terms of just the score is going to be Great Oak and Chino Hills. Last year they played, it was a 47-42 game. Brandon Presley, you know, lit up Chino Hills' secondary for 8 catches, 263 yards. So that could be another shootout.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the Southwestern League does because I can absolutely see if, you know, Vista Murrieta, they were playing so much better than they were earlier this season, but it's also tough because they're now going back up to the bump in competition they saw with their non-league schedule. So for me, I think the Southwestern League would be very, very fortunate to go 2-1 in the first round. I can see a scenario where it goes 0-3, and I don't think it will happen, but I think that they really, really need to avoid it because they got brought up. They said, hey, you guys get to stay in what's essentially Division II. Now prove they belong because it is a little bit deeper of a league. You know, the CBL was kind of the pushover league beforehand in Division II. There isn't a league like that now, so I think the Southwestern League does have a point to prove. All right, well, that'll do it for our Pac-5 and West Valley Division roundups. Got a lot of great games Friday. Stay tuned. I'm Kyle Glazer for Eric Paul Johnson. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.